So what happens when you start hearing dead people and they start calling you collect? Because we're talking movies. We're talking The Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, and Madeline McGraw, based on the short story of the same name, which was written by Joe Hill, screenplay by Robert Cargill, and Scott Dickerson, who also directed. I won't make you do anything that you don't want to do.
Except to record this podcast with me. Jesus! What the fuck? Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? We're going to be talking about the 2022 release, The Black Phone, yet another make a gazillion dollar film from Blumhouse Studios. Scott, take us away.
Okay, before we start, I just want to say I like me those new Blumhouse picture promo logo that started with this film. It was fucking good.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how when the movie opens and usually each production company has like their little like logo that pops up. This one is the new Blumhouse one where it started like with Michael Myers in the woods, and then it like starts going into a house and you see all the Blumhouse characters. So you saw the Paranormal Activity, you saw the porch piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of just the blue Blumhouse logo or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I think before it used to be just like inside a room and it was like a dead girl, a rocking chair, and then it would flip over to like Blumhouse. But yeah, this one I really, really enjoyed. I was like,
the logo. You're like,
yeah.
You're like, I was sold on the logo. You're like, actually, the film awful. Logo, fantastic. Oscar-winning logo performance from Blumhouse, and that's the end of our episode.
Yeah, no, I did. I'm like, they had me at the logo. I'm like, boom, done. But
you're such a fucking product whore, man. You're like, they had the logo. I had to buy the product.
Oh, I am a fucking easy mark, 100%. In terms of the film itself, I extremely enjoyed it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, I didn't like the dad. He wasn't a good father. He wasn't a loving father until near the end. So I just couldn't give it my full attention because he was just not parenting very well. I don't agree with his parenting skills.
No, I believe I told you the story before. For my 5th wedding anniversary, we went down to Vegas.
Oh, I'm interested to see where this fucking goes.
So we went down to
clearly
Vegas.
I wasn't paying attention when you told me this fucking story.
Yeah, we went to Vegas to celebrate, and one night I think it was at the Bellagio. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the whole the casino we're at. It was either the Bellagio.
It's only a 30-minute podcast, Scott. So
yeah, don't worry.
Think faster.
But anyways, so me and my buddy and my wife, we're all playing the $1 craps table. Behind us is the $1,000 craps table, and on that craps table was the dad of this movie, Mr.
Oh, you mean Jeremy Davis?
Yeah, him and a couple of other actors, and I'm just like, literally, we're at the $1 things, and behind us is the thousands, and we're just fucking watching them roll, and I'm like, well, there's 1 paycheck, there's 2 paychecks, there's 3 paychecks. I'm like, there's my fucking house. I was like, just watching them all roll it on this craps table.
You're like he must have did pretty well in Saving Private Ryan because he's just fucking rolling it away.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and that was the thing. The whole time I'm like, where do I know this guy from? I'm like, I know this person, right? But it took me a while to figure it out, and then when I saw that, I was just like, hey, it's the craps table guy.
Actually, I just want to quickly talk about Jeremy Davis. So he plays the father, Terrence, of the 2 children. So we've been talking kind of like over the last couple episodes just about, well, and sometimes even in the off time, the fact that we haven't done any Lars von Trier stuff because, I don't know, he's super violent, super out there, and he can be a bit of a problematic director. But Davis has been in 2 of his films, both The House That Jack Built, which is supposedly like fucking ultra violent, even by Lars von Trier standards, and a really, really interesting Lars von Trier film called Dogville. If you haven't seen it, it's shot basically almost like on a stage. like where you're almost looking down. There's no set. There's just like lines on the ground as if you were doing like a stage play, and it's just supposed to be a representation of a town. Very interesting directorial choice. It's also stars Nicole Kidman. Super intense film, again, along the vein of Lars von Trier. Lars von Trier is obviously did Antichrist and a bunch of extremely graphic other films. But
I
Davis,
thought you were gonna go back into like, we've been talking about porn movies a lot in the porn industry, and I thought you were gonna throw me in with like, listen, this guy was in the industry, but they had to kick him out because of how big it was. Like, he was distracting.
Oh no, that was fucking. So that's Lars von Trier working with Green Goblin there. What's his name?
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe. So actually, I will sidebar for a sec. So there's a scene in Antichrist where you see like a penis going in a vajayjay, and they actually had to use a stunt cock because Dafoe is actually so big that Lars von Trier. So the movie is already crazy graphic and crazy shit, and he thought that William Dafoe's overly large penis was going to be too much of a distraction. The fact that there is a penis is already a conversation. He's like, I don't know, we got to bring in a smaller penis for you. So yeah, anyway, interesting sidebar. But Jeremy Davis is also in a film I really, really love called Secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal and
James Spader.
James Spader, yeah. And that's such a great film, man. It's so good. I recommend everybody watch that film.
So is this the Jeremy Davis episode, or are we gonna fucking talk about the Black Phone?
He's in the fucking movie. You want to tell your stupid crap.
Yeah. But
So
see, it's only a 30-minute podcast. You're the one that brought that up, and I had to speed up
the end music, and that's it. That's all we have today for Scott. Anyway, go ahead, Scott. Tell us about the movie.
Yeah. Personally, I enjoyed it a lot. Going in, like, I didn't.
Who'd you watch it with?
Oh man, I brought all my kids and my niece and nephew.
Wait, doesn't this have like an NC-17 rating or an R rating or something?
No, it's fucking PG. Well, in Canada it's 14A, so it's fucking PG-13 everywhere else.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, we can bring it, so it's not going to be too bad. But yeah, they all kind of enjoyed it. There wasn't much jump scares in this film, but would you agree that so the jump scares are rare, but when they come, they work? Yes. I think when we were discussing before Blue Velvet and Lynch's use of shadows, like Deckerson here, he used that like extreme because it's such a small room, but it's very poorly lit. When they do have the scenes where, spoilers, but it's like you see it in the trailers, but when you see the dead kids, right, like they're kind of coming out of the shadows and then they fade back into, like, they just melt back into the shadows, and then it worked perfectly on it. In terms of, I really like the fucking Ethan Hawke mask too. Oh,
and Ethan Hawke plays that role so well. And I mean, the fact that he's wearing a mask makes it much harder to act. But just the way his voice changes from like the soft, almost like childlike voice to almost like get over here, like gruff and angry, and like when he's sitting in the chair with like his shirt open, but just like the bottom half of the mask on, like,
or fucking Saturday Night at the Langford house. The minute I saw that, I'm like, I can literally see Kris. Like, I can see him in, what's that Rihanna song? Sticks and stones don't hurt me, but whips and chains excite me. I can see Kris just lying, shirt off, fucking in his underwear, holding the belt, just be like, I'm ready to get whipped.
Are you coming over? Naughty boy? Are you a naughty boy?
Come on, Noah's, hit me, beat the crap out of me, step on my cubes.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke brings like such a like a weighted performance to this. And Ethan Hawke has been around forever, right? Like, going back to the Explorers, I think, is the first thing like I know him from when I was a kid, which is also a great little kids movie from back in the day. And then he had like a big career through Hollywood, and then he sort of kind of like disappeared for a bit. And now he's back on the radar. Like he's been in a ton of stuff lately. Obviously, he was in Boyhood. We did an episode on that. You can definitely check that out. He's worked with this director before on Sinister. But two films that I really like Ethan Hawke in is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead with Marissa Tomei and Philip Seymour Hoffman, R.I.P. brother, and Born to Bleed Blue, where he plays Chet Baker, one of my favorite, jazz musicians. And it is such a transformative role. Like he already kind of looks a bit like Chet Baker, kind of gaunt and stuff. And he really takes on that role and makes it his own, even though he's playing like a real character. It's a really solid biopic. Lots of heroin usage and stuff like that. It's gritty as fuck. That's the kind of biopics that are dope.
So another Saturday night at the Langford House. But for me, we discussed it with the Boyhood episode. But yeah, like Dead Poets Society. I really liked him in that. Fucking Alive, which I still think is one of the fucking scariest movies ever made.
You're like, if I went down, whose ass would I eat?
Yeah, I'd be like, listen.
Oh my god, that's almost
it's like literally why I'm trying to lose as much weight, right? So I'm like, people look at me like, listen, like no one has time for ribs. Like no one wants to kill this guy for ribs.
That's
right?
that's almost like a log line to a porno movie. You know what I mean? Big asses to eat, alive, eat them alive, go down.
You just start making your next short film.
It's already in my head right now. It's already.
But, the other thing is I like kind of, well, in terms of his character too, like I was not surprised, but I thought at one point they were gonna go kind of with a fucking split kind of thing. I thought maybe the masks were representative of like a different personality
because he has kind of different versions of masks, right? As well as totally different masks. Oh, that's
and his
yeah.
demeanor was different with each mask, right? When the one where you saw his face but you only see the mouth kind of thing, like he was more childlike, more playful. He was like, I just want to stare at you, I just wanted to look at you kind of thing, right? And then when he has the horn one, he's like kind of like the trickster, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna leave this door open, you kind of do whatever, right?
Is that because he was horny?
Oh god.
And dad jokes at 11 o'clock.
We are not amused.
Dad jokes? I thought this fucking pedophilia jokes. Like it's not good for
different households, man. Different households.
Sure enough. But one, I will say in terms of the kids, like I think Madeline McGraw, who played Gwen, like stole this fucking movie.
So she's got a solid acting background, both in TV and film. She was in American Sniper, The Mandela Effect, Ant-Man and Wasp. She's done a bunch of voice work, and then her big TV stuff that I found was she's doing Secrets of Sulphur Springs. I guess she's a reoccurring character on that, and another show called Outcast.
Yes.
I figured you might actually know those shows because they're like kids shows.
I think Outcast isn't a fucking kid show. It's about people getting possessed by demons.
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, does it? Does it compel me?
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's from it's like, once The Walking Dead went big, they just grabbed any property of the writer and started developing those. I only saw the first season of Outcast. I've never seen anything else. But yeah, like I thought she, like her delivery, her line, but also like what you're saying with your quotes when she was just like, fuck Jesus, like what the fuck, Jesus. Like,
as soon as I heard that quote, I'm like, oh, I want that quote. That's the quote, man. Fuck Jesus.
like
so exhausted with God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Oh, save me, Jeebus.
Just give me the sign. But yeah, I think all in all, like now with yourself, did you enjoy it? Or
so actually I primarily did. So yes, I enjoyed this movie. Actually, I recommend it. And I know normally we try not to like social media about films until we cover them, but I had to, like, I was on Twitter and I had to throw in. So 2 things about this film right off the top: the editing and the cinematography are like a thing of beauty. Like the DOP Brett, oh Jesus, Polish last name, Jutkowicz. So he's the DOP on the Scream that came out in 2022. He's working on Scream 6, Ready or Not. One I'm definitely going to check out is called Them That Follow. Basically, it's got like Olivia Colman and a bunch of other actors in it, and it basically takes place in the South with like those Christian revival church that do snake handling. And he's done 2 episodes of Stranger Things. The cinematography is fucking awesome. Like, awesome. Like, I so appreciated the use of great scene work and blocking, and you know, it wasn't just like, okay, we're gonna have like a nice stable camera, and by stable I mean stable camera work, not the camera itself is stable. Like, they actually made like artistic choices, let alone the setting of it in the 70s, giving it that like almost like it was shot in the 70s, sometimes using almost like 8mm, you know, film stock aesthetic. I thought, like, again, it is a beautiful film to watch, and not in the way that Cherry is just like overindulgent. Like, it works, it's done well. And the editor, Frederick Throval, also worked on Sinister. So you've got basically the same director. So, I mean, Scott Derrickson, Doctor Strange, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister. He's got the same editor from Sinister, and Ethan Hawke also was in Sinister, right? So you got those guys coming back. But Frederick worked on Promising Young Woman, and that's what he got his Oscar nomination for, his BAFTA nomination. So it's fucking awesome. He's also the editor of Taken. So from an aesthetic, loved it. The jump scares that came, I mean, I'm a fucking bitch when it comes to this stuff. So I was like, it definitely scared me when it needed to. My only criticisms were actually in the beginning of the film. The line delivery, and this is like super nitpicky, the line delivery was a bit on top of each other at points. And I don't know, I mean, it's not because I originally thought, oh, because they're child actors, maybe they don't have a lot of time experience, but even Mason Thames, who plays Finn, he's on Walker and For All Mankind. He's got enough TV time. That was the director. I don't know why he didn't like slow those line deliveries. They just felt a bit on top of each other. I also didn't like
Hey, can I interject for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, man, because like I'll just keep going.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I thought that too, but then I started thinking, and I literally started looking at everybody I went to that fucking movie with, which was all my kids, and I'm like, neither one of them are gonna let the other one finish a fucking sentence, right? They always want to be the one with the final word. So like literally watching that, I'm like, yeah, I get it, right? I'm like, because kids, like, it's just fucking, I'm gonna get to the point, like, that's it kind of thing. They're always going to go on top of each other, always talk over each other, because in reality, that's what.
Scott, bring in the dad perspective. Okay, so maybe you're right there. But I actually did not enjoy, I think Jeremy Davis could have done that role. I did not think he was directed well. I did not believe him in his scenes when he was being super aggro with his daughter. And I'm not going to get into like, just, the yelling, the whole thing. I just never really believed him. I felt like his character, his acting was not fantastic.
Move this man!
But realistically, just if you're having any issues at the beginning, just settle in, just ride that out for a couple minutes, because then you're going to get into some fucking great stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay, wait, I'm going to say another one.
Go.
So this, I'm gonna have to spoil a little bit. So we're gonna do some spoilers. Kris, do a countdown, and then I'll talk.
What do you want me to count down? What number?
Like to 5, and then like fast forward like by 2 minutes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, if you don't want to listen to this. So the fact that Gwen can see visions and stuff like that, I have a theory which will technically set up for the sequel of this movie eventually.
Oh, interesting, because I was wondering how they were going to get to a sequel for this sucker.
Okay, ready?
Yep, go.
Jeremy Davis' character also can see dead people and hear dead people, and that's why he's an alcoholic. because it lost his wife so much. So he's
Mhm.
trying to drown all that stuff down so he doesn't have to like feel it anymore. And that was
Oh,
his
almost
escape.
like self-medicating.
Yeah. And then boom, sequel, they both get caught and he's gonna have to save the day.
And then, since you're using the same editor as Taken, Liam Neeson shows up and is like, I don't know who you are, but I gotta go save these people that conceive dead people.
It's while Jeremy Davis drinks coffee. He's like, I don't know if you know who I am, but I have a particular set of skills. Once I'm sober.
The Black Phone, Taken edition.
I told you I would find you.
Right. Because it was the same thing. They did tease it as well, that Ethan Hawke's character could hear the phone as well, that
That's
he
right.
also had the powers, but he just constantly was ignoring it.
Yeah, and his brother did a lot of cocaine. I love seeing him all
Saturday
spun
night
out.
at the Langford house.
So here's a great quote from Lee Greenbelt from Entertainment Weekly. I'm sure you've heard of Entertainment Weekly, Scott. Basic plot mechanics don't often add up in the details, but high voltage jump scares abound, and several baroquely composed frames are generally nightmare fodder. So yeah, there's definitely some fucking plot holes. There's definitely some things that you're like, why didn't the kid just do this? Or why didn't the detective do that? Or I don't know, look for a dude with a fucking black van. Just ignore that shit. just remember you're there to be entertained. Like I said, the shot composition is fucking epic. I actually do want to talk about, so this is based on a short story. Well, it is called The Black Phone by Joe Hill, whose last name is actually King, as in
Stephen King's son.
Stephen King's fucking son. I'm like, all right. It's from an anthology called 20th Century Ghosts. Have you ever read that? I mean, you're kind of into King and stuff.
No, I've read some Joe Hill. I've read Horns. I've read
different than Hank Hill.
I look like a jackass. Look at that.
Or Henry Hill.
What was the fucking point of asking me the question if you're just gonna make
stupid
jokes?
You can talk.
Stupid jokes. Yeah, I've read Horns. I've read Nosferatu, which is a TV show on AMC now.
Is Horns the same one as like Kevin Smith? Oh no, that's Tusk. That's
Tusk. Yeah, Horns is a guy who wakes up and he starts growing devil horns, and his girlfriend was killed, and he tries to figure out who killed her.
Wait, so that's not the one with Daniel Radcliffe, is it?
Yes, they did make a movie out of it.
Oh, okay.
But I read the book. I didn't watch the movie. But yeah, all in all, he is a talent, and go ahead now. You can.
That's it.
He's a talent.
The inflection was like
he's
totally a talent, and like I'm gonna keep saying anything, and you just stop talking.
Yeah, because I totally lost my train of thought because he kept on interrupting me.
Littering and
littering and littering and littering and
And I kept on hearing, like, thinking about Henry Hill now, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You can check out our Goodfellas episode. And Ray Liotta did just pass away, who played Henry Hill. So one of the things I liked about this, and so you haven't read the short story version of this.
No,
because there's a lot of like progressive elements that are just kind of there, or I see them as being there without them being like really, hammered on. So in my opinion, the lead detective, he's black, strong female protagonist for the most part. Like the daughter is like, she's fucking kick-ass, man. And there's some great fight scenes in this, man. Like kids kicking fucking ass, man. It was like kick-ass, but better. So yeah, like I said, you got strong female protagonist. You've like got a black police officer as your lead detective.
Yeah, but what happens? Like,
what do you mean? What
that you know how you're saying like plot holes?
Yeah.
Like in reality, at what point the detectives are like, shit, just let's wait for this kid to have another dream? Because it was literally just them sitting there like, huh, and then coming to her like, hey, did you find anything?
You
Did
got
dream
anything yet?
about anything? Yeah. I'm gonna come to your dad's house, be like, hey, what did she dream about yesterday? Did she tell you? Does she have a dream journal?
Can we look at it?
Yeah.
So this, I kind of opened with this, the fact that this is a Blumhouse production. These guys just like a fucking cash machine. So this film specifically has already done 82 million against an $18 million budget. But I mean, Paranormal Activity, which is probably like their biggest, just like that first one, $15,000 budget, 193 million at the box office. I'm like, fuck, man. I've worked on short films that have that budget. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking crazy money, man. And it's doing well with like the critics and the audience. Like the critics are giving it an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's got an 89 with the audience. So I don't know, man. I read some like critiques of it, and I'm like, it's weird. Even as someone who's super critical about film, I'm like, it's a fucking horror movie. Like let's like keep things in the realm of like importance here. Like I don't know. Go ahead.
On that note, realm of importance. X versus Black Phone. Which one are you taking?
X got more boobies.
I like Vicky and she likes me back. And she showed me her boobies and I like them too.
And Kid Cudi's dick.
It's actually Kid Uncuddy. That's actually a really good comparison because they both have great cinematics. They're both set in the 70s.
And they both have, like, I know I always say around, but homages to other things. Like this film is pretty much like a love letter kind of to Stephen King, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like there's the scene where she's riding the bike and she's literally fucking Georgie from It. Like she's in the yellow.
That's what I thought too. Like that outfit and because of him with the mask, he gives me that kind of Pennywise vibe. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, especially like, Pennywise would always give the balloons, right? And you're searching for the one with the black balloons instead of the red balloons, right?
That's right. And it felt like The Shining as well.
Yeah. And not only like Shining, you had like a little like fucking Stand By Me, right? Instead of the group of friends are technically it's one alive kid and like 4 dead kids, and they're trying to get this kid to actually survive, right?
Yeah, to me, like just as a film, it felt like a cross between The Shining and Poltergeist with like kind of like I said, like the It vibes. It's good, man. Like I said, I highly recommend it. I recommend seeing this in the theater. I mean, it will translate to your like smaller screen, but I mean, jump scary, beautifully shot film like this, watch it in a movie theater where you can have that experience. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's good for theaters. Go out, spend your money. Help them.
Yeah, exactly that. And when you go, you get to laugh at the people like Kris that scream during the
I didn't scream. I just made this face.
Remember, we're radio, so.
Except if you're like to watch and you're watching this on YouTube right now. Do you got anything else you want to say, Scott?
No, I definitely recommend it. Go watch it. And I always look forward to what Scott Dickerson does. Like he is one of the guys, like especially in the horror genre, that I like enjoying his movies.
Give us some other of his horror stuff do you like?
You fucking named almost all of them. Like Sinister, which technically is the scariest movie of all time based off of jump scare ratio and heart metrics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one, Sinister, did 3 million, was made on a $3 million budget and did 87 at the box office. So again, fucking Blumhouse just being like, show me the money. Yeah,
he even did, and you're probably gonna make fun of me, but I like it. And a little bit of Can. He did the remake of the day the Earth stood still with Keanu Reeves.
Yes, he did.
You're
talking about Scott Dickerson or Derrickson.
Yes, he directed that.
Was it any good?
I liked it. Right? I don't think it did well in theaters, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, Deliver Us from Evil is the one I haven't watched, and Emily Rose, that one was fucking really good. I definitely like if you guys are looking for a good fucking horror movie, I definitely recommend The Exorcism of Emily Rose. If I read somewhere too with this guy, he's super Catholic, and I could be wrong, but a lot of his films have like, you know, possession and stuff. So they literally make up words because they don't want to, you know, actually have correct Latin and stuff in case they actually do summon a demon.
And you're Catholic, so is that why you make up words too?
Yeah, our whole fucking religion is based off stuff that's made up. Like, come on. And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
I think the aesthetic too, it looks so good that I'm definitely, for me, it looks so good I was willing to be like, that's fine. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but fuck it. Like, I'm really enjoying watching this thing, you know what I mean? It's like a really hot stripper that can't really dance. You're like, I'm not really here for the dancing anyway.
I was going to use like a David Lynch movie where, you know, everything's shot well, it looks good, but you're like, I have no idea what's fucking going on here.
I don't even know if he does, though. But as we've talked about this multiple times, like, yeah, I kind of want this thing here, so just put it there. Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.